Alrighty, beautiful people. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I like to greet all my beautiful people in the words of peace and paradise. We say it in the original tongue, our original language. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got our second podcast right now. And I got a special guest, my brother here. Yeah, special guest, man. It's always good to have some company, especially a sharp brother like my guy here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
So we're gonna kind of get into just the beginning, walk us through some of the things that we gonna discuss today. But today we're gonna discuss spirituality. How you feel about that?
Spirituality. Powerful word.
And we're gonna connect some other words into it. But we're gonna give you all basis, and we're gonna kind of just keep it nice, keep it comfortable, keep it fun, and give you all some wisdom that we have. So I want to start off with asking, who are you? Greet yourself. You can let the people know from that camera there.
Yes,
and who are you? And then what do you do?
Yes, sir.
And then what do you plan on doing in your lifetime? What's that thing?
Yes, sir. Well, my name is Brother Dante X, and I'm a member of the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Along with this great brother right here as well.
Sir.
And what I do is, well, at this moment, I work at the hospital, University Hospital. But of course, there are greater things to come. Break away from that and start my own venture, of course. That's always the goal. It's always the goal.
Yes, sir.
So, and my future goals is, I have a few of them already written out and sorted out, but I haven't combined them entirely. But I just want to make a difference in the world.
Yes, sir.
I want to make a profound impact. I want to leave my legacy. I want to be in the history books. And I'm not talking about his history books, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir.
I want to be someone that when you think of activism, you think of somebody that's being a service to their community, somebody that's spreading the good word, somebody that's always being there for his people.
Yes, sir.
I want you to think about me along with the other greats as well. And of course, some other monumental things. Just being a pillar in the community. That's one of the most important things. You need to be a pillar in your community, because if you only serving yourself, what kind of great good are you really serving the Creator himself when you are only serving yourself? It's always about being a service to other people and helping out whoever and whomever you can the best way possible. But of course, helping yourself first.
Yes, sir. Yeah, appreciate you for that,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Good stuff,
Yes,
brother.
sir. Yes, sir.
And I answer that question as well. I actually got another follow-up question. So you told me what you did, and you told me your future plans, but who are you though?
Yes, sir.
That's a powerful question. That's a question that has many layers to it. And when you ask someone what you do, or like who are you, or tell me about yourself. This is something I learned in the past. So when you had a job interview or something like that, they always first start off with, tell me about yourself.
Right.
And the first thing that we do, because we train to do, is tell us what we do.
Right.
As far as our industry, as far as our job, as far as our career. But we don't really tell them who we are as human beings first. So that's something to be mindful of. So I'm gonna ask you again.
Yes, sir.
And because I got what you do and what your future plans are. But if you can describe Dante, who are you? Just give us who you are genuinely, and not what you do for a living.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, I am a very spiritual man. Man, I would say a man of God, a man that loves to delve deeply in the word of God, a man that loves scripture, a man that loves knowledge, a man that loves wisdom, a man that strives to try to seal knowledge and wisdom with understanding. So when boils down and sum it down, I'm a man of God, and I'm a man that's striving to become aligned with God himself.
That's powerful. I appreciate that, brother.
Yes, sir.
If I had to describe myself, who am I would start off with I'm Tremaine Lasenby, Tremaine X, Mr. Tremaine X. I'm part of the Nation of Islam. I'm a God believer first. I believe in God. I'm a family man. I love art. I love creativity. I love innovation. You know, I love creating things and thinking crazy things, and crazy to other people, right? Crazy to other people, but I like to think of things and complete them, and think of more things and complete them, and pretty much make my dreams and my thoughts become reality.
That's right.
You know, so I would consider myself a creative person, a God-fearing person. Love family. You know, I love helping people. I always felt like I was on this earth to help people. You know, feel like I was chosen. And then what I do, well, I pretty much do just that then, right? Just be a positive and a beacon of light in people's lives, and just be a positive as possible, while also purifying my own soul. And what I plan to do in the future. So in the future, that's a heavy question, man. That's a deep one. And I applaud you for even answering that question, especially on the spot, because this is these questions we gotta take some time.
Right.
You know, these not questions that you can think of in a moment. You have to really sit on them. You have to sleep on them. You have to really think about it. So I applaud you for answering that. And I didn't give you a heads up for that. You know, I wanted this just to be genuine and you know, just give the people what you had. So I plan on having a creative design business. I plan on having my creative design business is going to consist of photography, creating platforms for other people's studios, also making clothing, fashion. But my bread and butter will be real estate, stocks, and investing. And with that, gaining income, using money as the resource that it is, and then providing opportunities for other people, whether that's home, whether that's feeding them, whether that's clothing, whether that's paying for it. I know money isn't everything, but money is a very important thing, and it's sometimes looked at everything to other people. And I know if I gain that tool, I can help other people as much as possible, and they really will appreciate that, though. So that's like some of my main goals in the future. Also continue to just be that positive platform and example for other people to do. Strive for greatness, close that gap between me and myself and God, and give people positivity, such as this podcast. You know, Deep Rooted Podcast, creating a family, creating a community of like-minded individuals, so we all can have somebody to confide in. Because when you're in a righteous lifestyle, it get real lonely.
Yeah.
You know, it get lonely.
Yeah.
You know, your friends start trickling down.
Right.
People that you used to talk to start trickling down. Even the people that's in your life currently. It might be a parent, it might be a mom, it might be a dad, it might be a brother, it might be a sister, uncle, auntie, girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband. You know, it gets pretty lonely. So I want to create that community for righteous people, for deep-rooted thinkers, for innovative thinkers, for righteous people to follow that path. So,
right. I wanna dove back on
yes, sir.
Because you honestly, you opened everything up, and it made me wanna dove back on my answers.
Yeah, there we go. Yes,
you
sir.
know, I would say I'm a deep thinker, and as you already previously said, a creative person. I would say I'm a creative person, an innovator, someone that like to come up with different ideas and set of rules in their mind.
Yeah.
You know, so to say, that keeps the systematic structuring, you know, of your mind, like within that creativity together. So I love journaling. I do a lot of writing. I'm a writer at heart.
Yeah.
And I love to delve, you know, deeply into a lot of different, you know, things in terms of literature. You know, I can, of course, pick up a book and I can kind of listen to it and get lost in it, and it's almost as if when you reading books, you time traveling.
No, that's
because when you read it, especially you read a heavy book, for example, by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Message to the Black Man. It's like when you reading that, the book's so profound. It's like you time traveling. And those different things you reading, those different things that you saying to yourself in your head, just repeating those things out loud, or whether it's in your head or not, you're time traveling. It's like you're trying to get a glimpse, and you're trying to get a visualization of everything that you're reading. It's so powerful, and it's almost as if, you know, you're time traveling to see the man himself that created the book.
Yeah, that's deep. Yeah. And it made me think about what you said before we kind of hopped on camera. You were talking about creativity, because that's one of the reasons why I love reading. You know, before I read to better myself, before I read to better the things that I do in my life, I read for fun. I read novels, I read stories. And one of the best things, or my favorite things about books, is when you read it, you see it.
Right.
You know, the words come off the page, and you see it however you want to see it.
Right.
You know, because if you read the book and I read a book, we both seen different things, because that's where the creativity lies. You know, your imagination, it works and it do its thing. And like you said, it takes you literally into a different world. It's time traveling into that world. And that's like one of my favorite things about reading, honestly. And that still is the case. Not always with some of the books that I read. I kind of can go on a tangent of, like, nowadays, when I think of like time traveling, you said, I pretty much visualize myself doing whatever I'm reading about. So if I'm reading on waking up at 5 a.m. and how that can help you in your life, I'm visualizing what I'm doing. I'm visualizing it. I'm visualizing what benefits I would have, how my life would change, and the things around me and how the people around me would change as well. You know, so that's something I would think about. Anything else for the people, man?
Yes. I want to go back to spirituality, because I want to read it real quick.
Okay, you gonna clear the word?
Yeah.
All right, that's clear. All right, that's clear. And once you clear that word, I got 2 questions for you. Okay. All right.
Cool. It's many definitions.
All right. So spirituality. Look to the camera there after you read that, man. Tell them what spirituality is.
Yep. It says sensitivity or attachments to religious values, and then the other one says the quality or state of being spiritual. That's the quality or state of being spiritual. It's powerful. What you think about that one?
That is powerful. I think that's clear. That's clear spiritual now. If you wouldn't mind, that's clear spiritual. Absolutely. And let's see, because this is a very complex word, spirituality. When I think of spirituality, I think of consciousness. I think of a higher consciousness, and I think of the word vibrations as well, energy. I think of things that's not in the physical realm, but is more in the metaphysical. You know, things you can't feel, touch, or hear, but you have to still believe in order for it to be true.
Right.
If that makes sense, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you might not never see love. You might not never see God. You might not never see any other terms that we have for spirituality, such as vibrations, energy, even your spirit itself. But it's something that you have to still feel and believe in. And I think, like, believing in the unseen, that's it right there, isn't it? Believing in the unseen is what I think of when I think of spirituality.
When I think of spirituality, I think of basically what you just summed up. You know, metaphysical. You know, something that's deep, something that you really can't touch. It's something that you can more so feel. Something that's more on a level of where the higher power is. And the things that we are open to, the sensitivity that we feel just throughout the world, right there, that feeling is the spiritual connection. That's actually making his presence known to us, to let us know, like, I exist, I'm here. And at times too, it can act, we might look at it as a negative thing, but it can act as a way where it's nudging us to confront different things within ourselves that we might not want to see. Like meditation, for example. When you meditate, that's you connecting to that spiritual sensitivity within that atmosphere. And that spiritual sensitivity, is acting as the authority himself, which is God. And he's trying to connect you to different things that you're overlooking, that you're looking past, that you need to give your attention to in order for you to become your whole self. Because if you become your whole self, then you can become him.
Yeah.
So That's, to me, honestly, just, sum it up. That's really what I, take from it.
That's powerful, man. Yeah, that's
So-
actually very powerful,
so-
bro. And I was just thinking, that's very complex as well.
Yeah.
That's why so many people, and I would even go as far as saying most people don't really get into all that. They'd be
Right.
like, I don't get into all that stuff because it's deep. It is deep and it's very complex. And how you said, that's why I think we also never feel like our whole selves. So I would second that. We never will feel like our whole selves until we actually practice spirituality. There's no way around it. You have to get in tune with your spiritual self in the spiritual world, spiritual realm, in order to become your full, complete self. And that's why I think is always something missing in people's lives who are not aware of the spiritual. For example, a millionaire, sometimes a millionaire is the saddest people on this earth.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And what's the quote that you told me?
I said some people are so poor that the only thing they have is money.
Ooh, oh my God. Say it one more time. Say it one more time for the people, man.
Sometimes some people are so poor that the only thing that they have is money.
That's what you call spirituality, because you're going to have to sit on that one for a minute.
That's powerful.
You can't just let that one, you can't just like, oh, I get what you're saying. That's deep. Because money moves this world. Money is, people can't even think straight if they ain't got no money.
Money is a lot of people's God. And it's a God that don't answer the phone call. It don't speak. It don't have no type of form of expression. The only thing it does is get spent. That's it.
Powerful, man.
Even though that's a form of energy, but it's a low energy. When you have that kind of mindset where you're like, well, this money is here. I'm here to be of service to this money. When you have that kind of mindset and it becomes your God, you're using it at a lower vibration, a lower level. And you're in fact not only undermining yourself, but you're lessening yourself, because you can't become full if you're worshiping idols and other things. That's not why God created you. He created you to worship and only see him. That's when you can become your full self.
Yes, sir. Praise be to God. Praise be to God for that one, boy. God is in the room right now.
Yes, sir.
He said, when two or more come in my name, we got what we need. All right, so I wanted to kind of get into spirituality a little bit more. And I'm going to just kind of make this a little bit fun. Just whatever you think about and first thing come to your mind, just kind of go with it.
Okay.
All right, so spirituality. Explain what spirituality is in one phrase.
Being in line with God.
In line with God.
Because think about it, you can only reach the height of having a strong spiritual base as if when you are connected to the Creator himself. You can do, and this is another thing, I see a lot of this, you can burn sage, you can do all those different things that you want, but that's not centered. That's really not that centered with God. Centered with God is you talking to God, you actually talking to him, you meditating, you reading his word, you actually connecting with him, you learning his characteristics, his traits, his qualities, and following those traits and characteristics and qualities to put in you, to embody those things. That's what it ultimately means to me.
I think that's what it means, period.
Yeah.
I think we put a period in that sentence for real.
Because you have people that burn sage, they do all these different practices, but if you're doing all these things, you're supposed to be on a high spiritual plane level. Why do you still feel incomplete?
Right.
Something is missing there.
Something missing.
And that's the Creator himself.
That's the Creator himself. Wow, that's powerful.
Yes, sir.
That's powerful. If I had to say spirituality in one phrase, I guess earlier I kind of hit that a little bit on the money, belief in the unseen. That's something that just kind of moved me, that spoke to me. Belief in the unseen, having faith and belief in the unseen. Because the level of spirituality that you're speaking of, I feel like that's on the path. That's when you have the supreme teachings that we have, and that's when you have a certain amount of knowledge to know that the Creator is the only way, and we all have the Creator inside of us, and we are part of the creation, and we have the Creator with us as well every step of the way.
That's right.
That's like the final step. But before you get to that step, I will say it's levels to it,
That's
you
right.
know, because some of the people that's like burning the sage and they doing this and they doing that, and they might be taking psychedelics, or they, you know, in tune with nature. That's like a footstep into that path. You know, like that's a little a side road to the main road. You know, it's leading to that main road, and I think that's like a good start, because it shows you have some type of consciousness that's expanding and heightening. Right, because I will say that's what led me here. Because, and I do want to speak to this. I'm glad you brought that up too, because the way I got to my spirituality is that I wasn't looking for God. And that might be like, dang, that sounds crazy. Why you said it? I never was looking for God. You know, I always was looking at it from a self-centered position. I want to learn tools that will help me out in life. I want to get in tune with nature. I want to get in tune with people. I want to learn myself. I want to get in tune with my spiritual self, and I want to get spirituality is the terms that I was using. And I'll say that's about 4 years ago. That was my start of my journey, about 2020. I said, I'm gonna make it my business to wake up every single day, and I'm just gonna thank the higher power, is what I was saying, for waking up. I didn't say, I don't even think I've used the word God. I was like using source energy, or just the source and energy and just the world, universe, you know. I was real spooky with it, you know, and that's what I did. I just start off each day by saying, I'm going to thank whoever that got me here. I'm going to thank them every single day. And that's how my spirituality literally started. And then from there, I started learning more about myself, started cleaning up what I put in my body, what I read, what I took into my brain. And then that led me to finding the creator, God, Allah, whatever name you have for it. We know there's a lot of names out there. We want to get lost in the name per se, but getting in tune with the creator, that's how I kind of started, you know. And I think that's a good start for most people, though. What you think?
Yeah, you touched it up. For the most part, you definitely touched it up, because, like you said, with all those things, like you said, it's a sign of elevation in consciousness. You know, you starting to channel, you know, your once destructive energy. Like, say for instance, like you were somebody that were heavily in the streets, but then, you know, over time you started to become, you know, awaken, you know, sage burning, doing those different things. You also know, like, when you burn those things, it also brings a sense of feeling of peace as well. So it's like you drifting in that direction. It's like you slowly know, like, you have to release the things that you were doing before, because there's different levels to everything and different stages. Like, when you stepping into anything that's new, what you used to do, you start to see those things slowly start to leave you, because what you had, the baggage that you took before, you can't bring with you on the next step that you take in the next journey,
right,
that, you know, you embark in.
Yes,
and that's
sir.
just how, you know, life works. So yeah, start from there, and then you elevate, and then you go into where God is. You just climbing that ladder, and it's a constant thing that you're doing.
Yeah, elevation of consciousness. That was powerful, man.
Sir.
That's actually a book that I read that kind of, while I was on that journey and finding myself and doing various things to clean my life up. That was the exact book title, Elevation of Consciousness, by Zaylock 23. Shout out to Zaylock 23. That was one of the first books that I read that kind of expanded my consciousness as well. That's amazing. So we kind of led into the next part then, right? Of like using one word, just like one word for spirituality. So if you could explain spirituality in one word, I think we probably said it, but if you could just pick one word at this moment, what would that word be?
Enlightenment.
Enlightenment. That's good.
Enlightenment.
I would say, first, the only word I got right now is God.
Yeah.
God. And then the other word I thought about was consciousness.
Right.
Consciousness, you know?
I said God before, but enlightenment and God go hand in hand, because it's like when you become enlightened to something, it's like light is being placed in the area that's dark. Only God provides light in dark spaces. Anything else that provides light in dark spaces is artificial.
Yeah.
You know, God light is the light that's going to bring eternal light.
Yes,
and
sir.
it's going to keep that area lit. Because once God is in that area, he's there to be the revolutionary. He's there to change whatever was there in the first place and make it clean and clean it up. It's like the teachings itself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Supreme teachings. You don't get that from supreme teachings, brother.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
All right, so we're going to take a little break right here at this point, I think. About to hit that 30-minute mark. All right. All right, so we're going to get back into what we've been speaking about. We've been speaking about spirituality, what that looks like in our life, our experiences with it. And I think we're going to get it kind of a little bit deeper on our background into spirituality. I know I touched on it a little bit myself, but, you know, I got you on here and I want to make use of the time. So I told you kind of how my journey started in 2020 and what I first started doing in the spiritual world, because it's new. It's difficult for a lot of people, and it can get a little bit weird, can get a little bit overwhelming, or it can get just a little bit spooky. So people just don't even want to, you know, deal with it at all. So with that being said, what was your spirituality growing up?
That's a good question. Well, growing up, I really didn't have a spirituality. My mom, she didn't really, or my dad, she really didn't. She didn't, and he didn't. Of course, you know, with him not being present, but she didn't really give me a spiritual base.
Oh, wait, let me go back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you about to cut them?
All right, so let's start from the beginning.
I mean, I want to start. Yep.
All right, so wait one second. So we back from break, y'all. That's my fault. We back from break, and we was getting to spirituality, the basics of it. Where did it start? How we got into it, and we're gonna get a little bit deeper into spirituality. I know I told you a little bit about myself and how I started in 2020, waking up every day, thanking that higher power, the creator of whatever that sort was, and kind of just looking for the answers and working on myself. And that was in 2020, and that led me here to, I know for sure what I believe in, and a little bit deeper into spirituality. But of course, it's a eternal thing, a forever learning thing. But, you know, speaking about growing up, what was your spirituality growing up?
Well, my spirituality, I honestly didn't have a spirituality growing up. I didn't grow up in anything, you know, religious or anything like that. So I kind of just went throughout life, just kind of just going with the motions. But fast forward later on, when I got into like 9th grade, it was this guy that I met, and he was heavily spiritual. He was, you know, into, you know, new age kind of, you know, stuff, you know, sage burning and, you know, higher levels of consciousness. That was something that we spoke about. I also remember him introducing me to this film called The Secret, Law of Attraction. And then also I remember him introducing me to this movie. It's called Lucy. And we were just going over the whole dynamics with that. He was just breaking everything down, talking about our brain can really reach 100%. You know, the percentage is at, you know, that's only there because we're not tapping into our full potential. But he said we can do those things if we were to get to 100%. And he said it'll be to a point where he was also talking about telepathy as well. Like you can get in tune with the environment and everything around you, and you can kind of read the thoughts of people, read the thoughts of just literally everything around you. You get in tune with the plants. And we was talking about a lot of different things, just deep stuff. And he also was somebody that introduced me to meditation. Meditation. And that's what led to my journey of meditating. And I can tell you my experience with meditation. Meditation is very powerful. It's some, you know, things that, you know, just meditating that I saw, you know, different like images when you meditate, and not trying to be on no crazy, you know, ain't no spooky stuff or anything like that. But meditating, like seeing bright lights and stuff like that, meditation is very, very powerful. Like I said before, like it's you grounding yourself and getting centered with the creator himself. You sitting back, and then you you quiet and you allowing your thoughts to be quiet by him so he can enter you and give you whatever revelation that you need to hear.
Yes, sir.
So to sum it up, that's
and I
really,
wanted to ask you, who was that person? You should look in the camera and thank him, man. Thank that man.
Brother DJ.
Brother
That's
DJ.
right.
Brother DJ. Shout out to Brother DJ, man. You sound like a wonderful individual. And I'm sure if my brother Dante had that experience, I'm sure you ain't the only one that got that experience from a being like DJ. So
absolutely.
Brother DJ sound like he's in fact spiritual, very spiritual.
That's right.
And just how I was speaking about things that led me to here, I wasn't looking for God, but I'm sure all those things led you to right now, right here.
Right. That's right.
Right. So shout out to Brother DJ, man. He sound like he was definitely a treasure. Definitely a treasure, man. So
powerful,
appreciate you. Brother. And also I wanted to kind of touch more on that meditation too. We spoke a little bit about that off camera as well. And I think it's important just to have a structure in order and being my buzzword, intentional, right? I know I'm kind of known to some people for that word, being intentional. You know, that was a word in my life for a moment of time. And if you're trying to get in tune with the spiritual, or not trying, but if you're getting in tune with your spirituality, being intentional is very important. I think meditation is one of those things that you need to do. Give us an example of a meditation, you know, like briefly, surely, like what do a typical meditation for you look like, you know, without, I guess, going too deeply into your brain, because it's impossible to let us know exactly what's going on. But
right.
What do a typical moment of meditation look like?
When I'm usually meditate, it's always peace that descends down on me. It's like there's a tranquility. It's like a sense of peace and a sense of easiness, you know, so to say. So it's like when I awaken from my meditation, it's like everything is a lot more clear. You know, my thoughts are a lot more clear. Yeah. It's like I can take everything in all at once without feeling like I'm being bombarded. It's like I'm naturally, everywhere I go, it's like there's like this vibration that I feel after meditating, and it's very high. Right. It's very high, and it's almost as if there's a light as well after meditating, like a light that's with me, that I have within me, that I'm shining outward. Yes, and I see a difference in, you know, just observing other people, you know, they'll see it, you know, just through their body language and their eye contact. You can see that it's a difference because you can feel it and also see it externally as well.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah for that, man. That's powerful, brother.
Yes, sir.
That was powerful. When I'm meditating, I think, when I'm meditating for sure, which is I would like to do it on a daily, right? Of course, we all striving, so that might not be the case. But most of the time, if I am meditating, I do my meditation for about 10 minutes. Some people do it for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Some people do it for an hour. You know, I want to for sure start somewhere and then increase it, because I just started meditating on a daily just about a month or two ago. Right. About 2 months ago, I would say, where I was just like, you know what? I'm being intentional. Right? I'm being intentional. So when I'm meditating, my first thoughts was to visualize. Manifestation and visualization is the two things that I focus on while I'm meditating. And I focused on success, discipline, and peace. And also thanking God for those things. And then going through my daily life, visualizing the day ahead, the next 24 hours ahead, of what those things will look like, peace, discipline, and success will look like for that day. And then I go further and think about the years and the days and the months to come of what that will look like in the future. And I focused on just that. Visualization was my first focus. But then I started focusing on just my thoughts now, and just kind of controlling my thoughts and just being in tune with myself and my spirit. And that definitely helps me out to calm down, like you said, to remain calm and to gather my thoughts and piece them together. And I noticed that some of the things that I might be worrying about while being active on the daily life, the answers will come when I sit with myself for a moment and just let my mind and God do its work. Right? So I might be worrying about something, in the moment I sit on my rug, say my prayers, and meditate and just let my mind think for me, it almost like my higher consciousness kind of take over, and I begin to just, I'm gonna keep it, I don't want to sound spooky though, but I keep it practical, like just kind of work through, it's a problem. I just work through the problem, and my brain just kind of think about all the options that I have, and the worry that I might have once had is not there no more. And that's where the peace comes into of, oh, okay, maybe it's not a problem after all. Or if it is a problem, it's not impossible to solve. So let me solve it. And I don't have intentions on solving it. It just kind of happens over time of just sitting down with myself. So yes, sir. And I also want to ask, I guess we kind of spoke about it a little bit already. Where is your spirituality now? So you talked about your spirituality growing up. Where's your spirituality now?
Well, it's definitely a lot more different from what it was, in high school. I would say it's more grounded, it's more centered. Before, I was, of course, just going with the motions and just taking everything in.
Yeah.
Not really connected to an exact source. This one, I'm more connected to an exact source. I know what that source is. I'm centered. Just knowing exactly what that source is, that's what provides like the center and the base. So I have more of a base now, more of a house, more of a foundation.
Yes, sir. And what would you say, what changed? In what ways did it change? And, how did it change?
Well,
like what changed? And in what ways and how did it change?
That's a good question. I would say it changed, honestly, just with me, of course, first and foremost, making a decision to accept and become a part of this. And then after accepting,
and when you say this, you speak of
the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
That's right. So after accepting that and allowing the base that it had, the structuring that it had to become a part of me as well, that's what helped keep that base strong and keep that base together. So to say, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. That's the foundation, because like I said, spirituality is like a path. God is like a path, but it's a path that's hard to get to.
Right.
You got to take some practice, some structure, some discipline to get to it. And then when we reach different levels of consciousness, it's like side streets, different levels of elevation, side streets that's leading to this path. And it sounds like once you accepted the teachings, you got to the path that you was looking for, right? That's powerful, man.
Sir.
I would say, I guess I can speak on that a little bit. Can I speak on that a little bit?
Sir.
All right, let me go on again. Can I cook a little bit?
Yes, sir.
All right, yes, sir. Spirituality growing up, I think it's like the same way. When I think of spirituality, I never think of like the word religious per se. I don't think I believe in religion. Religion has taken on a body of itself.
Right.
In 2024, it was current time and dispensation of time. So even with accepting the Islam and being a Muslim and identifying as that, it's a title, but it's just a title. It's all leading us to the Creator and to the God, and everybody have the different ways of doing that. So like growing up, I never was like too spiritual religious per se, but I think God was always working on me in ways that I didn't notice at that time.
That's right. So
even just having creativity, imagination, which was one of the words we use today, creativity, imagination, those were some gateways into my spirituality as a young buck, right? Being a young buck, a young whippersnapper. You know what I'm saying? Drawing, I was drawing and doodling and printing out things and looking up lyrics and visualizing even lyrics of songs, right? And that kind of just led me slowly but surely growing up to the point where like I always consider myself different or weird, but I think it was just me embracing that spirituality that I didn't know what it was at first though. So I consider myself like a modern day hippie, right? Like going with the flow, believing in energy in the universe and things happen for a reason and karma and all these different words that we have for it. I had that growing up. So like high school days, I'm in tune to consciousness, because when I'm listening to hip hop and rap, I listen to what I listened to growing up, but I always had a special place for conscious rap, if you say conscious rap, right? For the Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Joey Badass, Big Sean, just people that had some type of consciousness. I always had like that in me, right? So that's kind of like so my spirituality was just, I feel like as my life progressed, my spirituality progressed, and to the point where I said, you know what, I want to figure this thing out. I want to be intentional about it. And once I finally made that stop and that jump, that's when it happened, right? So if I had to get to the next question, what changed? That's what changed. Me being intentional on figuring out my spirituality and finding it and becoming the best version of myself. That was the main goal. The main goal was just becoming the best version of myself, because I knew I had these potentials, and I had, I'm this, I'm that. I had all these thoughts of myself, and I really just wanted to prove myself right, but not more than prove myself right. I wanted to unlock that what was dormant inside of me, so I could become the best version of myself, but not only for myself, but for other people as well.
That's right.
So that's some of the things that changed for me.
Sure.
How can the world and people get in tune with their spirituality, and why do you feel it's important to do so? In your opinion, of course, all this is opinion based, right?
Yes, sir. Well, like you said, that word, being intentional, knowing intentionally what you want and sticking with that thing. That's you setting those boundaries for the people that's watching you. That's you establishing your ground with people that's outside of you watching you. That's you letting other people know, this is where I stand, this is where I am, and this is who I am. And it's up to them, of course, to accept that version of you or not. Yeah. So you just basically just providing that ground for people to walk on, that base for people to walk on. Because if you don't have those things, you baseless. You don't have anything. You just kind of just going with the motion, just kind of just let life just play itself out, which is the most horrible way to live life, because you're not living. Right. Yeah. Just kind of going with the flow, which was, I was a master of going with the flow. I was Mr. Go with the flow. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wake up, I don't even pick nothing out for the day. I don't do nothing, no planning. I wake up and I just follow my heart and my mind. That's how I operated for a long time. And that's why I consider myself like a modern day hippie, if you will. Just kind of like real flowy, just like wherever the wind blows me is where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of be very intentional. And I would say for the world to be in tune with spirituality, I think they have to live for something bigger than themselves. Right. We live in a very selfish and self-centered environment. Not our fault, right? We know we was raised in America in a capitalistic society, so it's understandable. And also we was raised on survival in the community that we come from. It's about how you gonna eat, how you gonna clothe your back, how you gonna feed your kids, how you gonna feed your family. So we live in a survival society and survival mode. So I think you have to, the only word is intentional. I think the only word is intentional. When you think about something bigger than yourself and stop using self and then start using we and us and living for something outside of yourself, then life becomes a little bit more meaningful. And I think you put life into perspective as well. So that's what I would think you need to do. I think just whether that's volunteering, whether that's any type of empathy or just emotional intelligence, I think it gets you in the realm of spirituality. Of when you stop thinking about just self all the time and understand that life can be ended at any moment. God forbid, but something can happen to us tomorrow. Right. What have you left? What relationships did you have? Was you in tune with the Creator? Where did we come from? Why? Just a lot of whys and hows are unanswered. And I think if you step out of yourself for a moment and kill that ego that we all have, I think that's like the start of spirituality. And then from there, I think God can do what He wants with you, and He'll show you the way. That's right. That's right. It's powerful. So that was pretty good. That was good stuff. That's powerful. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So for someone who isn't quote unquote religious, right? Because we did bring religion in here, sort of, kind of. How would you help them navigate through their life, the world, and their spirituality? For somebody to be like, I don't believe in that stuff.
I'm not religious is what they say.
Right.
When you're speaking about spirituality, when you're speaking about God, they tell you, I'm not religious. I ain't into that stuff. How would you help them navigate through it and like pretty much put it in terms where they can understand and relate to the importance of it?
Wow, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
First and foremost, that's just clear the whole religious thing. Religion is, of course, nothing but man-made set of rules and regulations. That's really not the center of God. So the way I would, of course, approach somebody, with that kind of, mentality is to, share my life experience, talk to them and allow them to just let everything out that they want to express, letting them know that, in that moment, it's about them. And just, through them expressing how they feel. And of course, me looking where I can give them a right, a word, in terms of that relatable thing that I'm gonna pull from just based off of what they said. Hopefully what I say, will be something that will give them some type of, light, some type of, guidance in the direction of wanting to get right with God and wanting to connect with God. So, just, and then also too, me thinking to myself and reflecting in that moment, of course, am I living up to the thing that I'm about to say to this person? These principles that I'm saying, do I align with them? Am I a great example before I even say it? If not, I shouldn't say it. And I should only speak on the thing that I am living and that I have experienced in a very, very profound way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. And I think it's important. It's definitely important for everybody to get in tune. I will stand on that. I will stand on that mountain by myself and screaming to the top of my lungs that if you're not in tune with your spiritual, it's always going to be something missing. It's always going to be something missing. You can have all the money in the world, all the connections, all the associates, all the material things. If your spiritual is not intact, it's going to always be something missing.
That's right.
Always. So I think for sure, if I was trying to get somebody to understand the spirituality, or for somebody who says, oh, I'm not religious, or I don't get into all that stuff, I would kind of break down just the real life benefits of being in tune with your spiritual self.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in plain terms, no spook at all,
Right.
Just physical. Do you like being peaceful? Do you want peace? Are you happy? Are you peaceful with your life? Do you want better? Do you want better for the world? Do you even think about these things? Because you got to take it baby steps. If people don't even think about, like I said, anything other than themselves,
right,
they might never even hear what else you have to say about that, right? So just kind of like letting them understand the importance of we only have one life and we only have this life for a moment, right? So we think about once this life is done and break off all the shackles and the cages that we are in due to our environment and our trauma, then we will understand the importance of not only just bettering ourselves and wanting better, but also how that will lead into spirituality, right? So just kind of understanding, like just letting them know I'm peaceful now. I love myself. I love my brother and sisters around me. I feel like I'm in tune with the Creator and I understand how the Creator is in everything and everything is part of the creation.
That's right.
And just how, the supreme teachings have taught me that I am God, right? I have the power to do anything in this world. And that does something to your confidence. That does something to the people around you. When you become better, when you walk into the room smiling, giving off good energy, if we know anything about energy, we know energy is very contagious.
That's right.
You come around mean mugging, sad face, somebody gonna feel that. They're gonna be like, bro, you making me sad, or they about to get on that same thing. You feel me? So just kind of keeping it real, authentic, realistic for them of how it's beneficial for me. And you can call it what you want to call it, but this is what it is, right? Getting in tune with that spiritual, getting in tune with your spirit and God. I don't see any negatives to it, right? Even if you're not quote unquote religious, if you pick up the Bible and read it front to back, I don't think you could say, oh, this is bad. This is not for me. if you picked up the Holy Quran, the Torah, any religious text, Buddhism, and read it from front to back, I don't think you ever can be like, that's trash. That's not for me. Because even if you're not quote unquote religious or spiritual, it's still a guide to get to your complete self, to better your life and the life of others around you. And I don't ever see that being a bad thing. You feel me? So that's how I would handle it. Kind of keeping it realistic for them, focusing on the benefits and not using terms and titles and labels, because that can always get, the point can always get lost when we're using titles, labels, and names for certain things.
Right. Right.
Yes, sir. Anything else we want to talk to the people about, man? Anything you want to give them?
Process. Now, everything that we basically talk about is a process. You got to stay in the classroom of life, and you have to allow God to develop you into what it is that you need to be. And when you feel that nudge, you feel that uncomfortableness, you feel the need to like, I want to get out of state in it, because it's trying to deposit something into you that's valuable to make you a greater human being and to make you a greater servant for God. So it's all a process. Whatever you first get into that's brand new to you, it's a process with learning that thing and becoming proficient at it, becoming knowledgeable at it. Everything is a process. You will never, as long as you exist and as long as you are living, there's a process with everything, everything. So stay in the process, enjoy the process, find laughter and fun in the process. And also too, accept mistakes, because, it comes with the process. But of course, when you accept those mistakes, you want to also not stay in that mistake. You want to move out of it, and you want to look for where it is you made that mistake at and perfect it, work on it, so you can become greater than what you were prior. It's a process.
That's powerful, brother.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate you for that.
Yes, sir.
And so we're gonna kind of have our last words for the people, for our deep rooted family. We're gonna have our last words. So while you think of that was pretty much kind of like a basis. But if you want to leave the people with your social media, whatever you kind of be on the lookout for, if you want to invite them to anything, or just any last words of wisdoms, help, guidance, shared experiences, promotion of materials, promotion of resources, anything you got going on, I want you to think about that, right? And kind of give it to them in 90 seconds or less.
All right.
What I pretty much leave them with, some last things I want to leave them with. I would say, when you on a path of wanting different, or on a path of wanting change, I think you have to be very intentional. But not only intentional, you have to structure your life in that way. So you have to surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. Put yourself in an environment that you want to gain from. And your daily life, your daily attitude, your daily mindset, your daily actions will reflect the person that you want to be. So if you want better, then you have to do better, right? Cliche. Right. If you want more money, then maybe surround yourself with people who have money, or people who's on the path to get money. So I think if you want to change, you can't just sit there and pray to God and think it's going to fall out the sky, because us as Muslims, we don't believe in that, right?
That's right.
We don't believe in anything just falling out the sky and you just gonna get it randomly. You have to work for what you want. So if you want something, we pray for it, but then we work right after to go get that. So I think if you want to change, you want that better thing in your life, you have to surround yourself with those people, put yourself in new environments. Even if you in the midst of chaos in a zoo, you can find that little small area and place to work on your goals, work on your aims, clean your music up, clean the food that you eating, be intentional about every single aspect of your life and actions and mindset. And soon the things you do on a daily will become yourself. The things that you do over and over will become you. Then you don't have to fake it for anybody, and you will be that genuine person, that high spiritual person, that high level and high energy person, and be the best version of yourself when you're closing that gap between you and God, you and the Creator, because that's the ultimate goal of any man. Right?
Well said. That was beautiful.
Yes, sir.
That was beautiful. Last thing that I want to say is just be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. And whatever mistake that you made, become aware of it. And once you become aware of it, look for different things that you can do to correct it. So just be patient with yourself. You make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. It's not. So
and there's
it.
that's no better way in on that, man, because we all imperfect, man. We all striving on this path to legendary, this path to righteousness, this path to be our best version of ourselves. And next time is episode number 2.
Oh yeah, just right on time. Yes, sir.